So this senior guard from the Washington Huskies currently leads all NCAA players in career steals with 305. He ranks among the favorites to win the National Defensive Player of the Year and has only become the third player in the last 20 years to average at least 2 steals and 2 blocks in a season. Should he maintain his averages of 3.4 steals and 2.2 blocks, he would become the first player in 20 years to average that stat line. And the guy who's on pace to crushing that record? The 6'5" guard with a 7-foot wingspan, Matisse Thybulle. But first, intro! Hey guys, welcome to Pacific Hoops and you can call me Nico. If it's your first time here, you want to know more what goes on in the NBA, start now by clicking on the subscribe button and clicking on the bell so you won't miss anything. On to the video. Matisse Thybulle is on pace to beating the conference record of 321 steals by Hall of Famer Gary Payton. If you guys don't know him, he's one of the best disruptors in the Pac-12 during his time and one of the most feared defenders in the NBA. This senior guard is arguably the most disruptive force in all of college basketball right now, outside Zion Williamson, and scouts are already starting to take notice after the Washington Huskies are on the top of their conference and on pace to making the NCAA tournament. Thybulle arrived at his shutdown mastery through necessity, refining a rare basketball skill set because he had to, especially when the Huskies' transformation from the second worst team in the Pac-12 only 2 years ago to the conference's top NCAA tournament hopeful this season. Now, as the Huskies with a 24-7 record and currently first in the Pac-12 are in the hunt for their first NCAA tournament appearance since 2011, Thybulle has become their catalyst, although doing so with less national attention than his accomplishments warrant. The wider world of college basketball have started to take notice. ESPN analyst Jay Bilas posted a tweet that described Thybulle as a defensive genius and underrated at the same time. Bilas wrote that he strongly believes that Thybulle should win National Defensive Player of the Year honors and is not even close. He started to pop into various mock drafts, usually in the second round or even late first round. Closing in on things like Payton's steal record still feels surreal to the player who became great but never considered himself that way. He has an interesting nickname in the Disruptor, slowly because of his impact on the defensive end of the court. Thybulle believes his skill set translates perfectly for how the NBA is changing, with teams building around 1 or 3 superstars by finding specialists trained for specific roles. He would be the defensive stopper, and perhaps for a playoff team looking for an unselfish guard with a rare and versatile skill set. If you guys haven't realized yet, his main strength has always been defense, and making it fun to watch again for the casual fan. In the Washington 2-3 zone, he plays up top, and will 110% surely get in the skin of the offensive player that he's guarding. His 7-foot wingspan are so irritating for the opposition as he cuts off passing lanes beyond effectively. The components that contribute to him being such a great defender are his quick feet, motor, defensive positioning, and instincts. He has some of the quickest feet I've seen in college this year, and it's downright scary when he's lurking on where the ball might go next. Let's not forget that Matisse has some very impressive hops too. That length, coupled with his athleticism, makes him a feared leaper on both ends. He can help on the offensive glass with those long arms as well. That motor that Thybulle possesses is what makes scouts salivate whenever they watch him. Most of his steals and blocks come from him being extremely active on defense. He always seems to bring incredible help defense when warranted and is very sneaky. That's what leads to many of his forced turnovers coming from behind the ball handler. There are only 4 players besides Thybulle in Sports Reference to have NBA wing size and athleticism to even have 100 steals and 20 blocks in a season. Eric Coley, who would have been one of the NBA's best defenders if he got the chance, James Posey, one of the truly great defenders of the last 2 decades, Bonzi Wells, and Michael Carter-Williams. Think about the sheer number of players who play zone defense in college over the years, and the number of athletic, instinctive future pros with huge athletic advantages over their peers. None of them has done what Thybulle is doing right now, which is at the very least to suggest that Thybulle's brand of on-court defensive chaos is something special. Because of the zone defense of Washington, his rebounding numbers will naturally not stand out since he's hanging in the perimeter. Although he's constantly active on the offensive boards, and we think that if he wasn't up top in the 2-3 zone, then his defensive rebounding numbers would look a lot more impressive. Thybulle's future in the NBA is a 3-and-D player, and a good one at that. He has shown the ability to spot up and hit threes off the catch. He has his hands in a ready position to catch and go up immediately. The shot is actually pretty nice and he brings a good stroke with it. He gives me the Robert Covington vibes whenever I would watch his highlights. His offensive game is a work in progress, but he has shown flashes over his career that he has the ability to put the ball down and attack the rim while finishing at a productive rate. His bread and butter though has always been his running floater that usually eludes even the longest of defenders. He could be a solid slasher at the next level, a high IQ player on both ends, and just as he cuts passing lanes effectively on the defensive end, he can cut to the basket and create open passing lanes for teammates offensively. There's a lot of reasons to doubt Thybulle's offense in the NBA. He's currently shooting 32% from 3 for 1. His usage has never exceeded 20%, and he's never been part of a highly functioning offense. But if you break down the individual components of his offense, we can see there's a lot to like. For one, he's currently a 50% shooter from 2, a 37% shooter from 3, and a 77% shooter from the free throw line for his career. Second, he gets up 5.5 threes per 40 minutes for his career on a trajectory that has improved every single season. This season, he's currently at 6.3 3-pointers made per 40 minutes this year. Third, on very low attempts this year, he's shooting 85% from the free throw line. Obviously, he's not a player you are going to give a major offensive role. He gets caught in no man's land without a plan way too often, but it's not like he's not somewhat capable. For me, I've thought about it. I'm fairly sure I'll have Thybulle as a mid-first round pick now and come season's end. One of the major weaknesses that you'll notice with Thybulle is that he barely uses his left hand. Whenever he goes to his left, he tends to use his running floater instead of using his offhand for an easy layup. That could work now in college for sure, because he has that 7-foot wingspan to elude defenders, but that won't be the case with the NBA where there are insane athletes every night. I am quite unsure on how Thybulle is with off-ball defense. That's what happens when teams play zone defense. Obviously, his defensive IQ is off the charts and is a great anticipator for the ball, but zone defenses sometimes allow you to ball watch and help off a lot more than in man-to-man defenses. It's not necessarily a weakness for Thybulle, but just a concern and something that we should all monitor as he transitions to the next level. It's all a matter of consistency for Matisse when it comes to offense. His shooting has been all over the place in his 4 years with Washington that could scare some teams who are looking for a defensive-minded guard with a reliable jump shot to their game. His stats during his sophomore year were encouraging, posting above 40% from the 3-point line, but now it's been hovering around the 32 to 33% range. It's lower, but it doesn't concern me as much, to be honest. You could always work on your offense, although if he doesn't fix this in the NBA, he'll be an offensive liability and we could be looking at the next André Roberson for his floor if things don't work out. If he does work on his offensive game, it's the sort difference between him being the next Danny Green, but on steroids. Creating with the ball is something Thybulle also needs to work on as well. The ball handling is fine for the 6'5" guard, but nothing too exciting there. It gives him the ability to drive to the rim in college without turning it over, but it won't get him past NBA talented defenders. We believe his future is a 3-point spot-up shooter while also being a willing slasher. But if that 3-point shot doesn't become consistent, as mentioned, then he is going to have to tighten up that handle and show some creation skill. Unlike many prospects in this draft, you know what you are going to get from Thybulle. He is going to put in constant work on defense and force a ton of turnovers. If he puts on just 10 pounds of muscle, maybe we could see him being one of the best lockdown defenders in the NBA. The offensive game is what's giving me hesitation to naming him as one of the best players already in this upcoming draft. Regardless, he is a stud, and don't be surprised to see an established team looking for some wing help trade up in the draft to select Matisse Thybulle in the late lottery. Hit me up in the comment section below regarding which team would benefit the most if they draft Matisse Thybulle with their pick. If you enjoyed my content, consider liking this video and comment on what your thoughts are. As always, keep it in the Pacific. This is Pacific Hoops, signing off.